So process management we have done. So for checking the process, we use command ps. When we use ps command, it shows current users, process of current user from the current terminal. That means the terminal which the user is logged in. So it shows only from that current terminal. That is, I've logged into this terminal, sudo terminal 0. So only from the terminal I'm logged in with this user root. So it is showing only the root user's process. So it shows the process of user, root user, and this is the PID, the process ID for the process. This is the terminal where it is running, and this is showing the time it takes to run, and this is the process actually. If we want to see the other process, then we can run ps-e command. It shows the current users executed process. Current users process, that means only current users process. Now if you want to see all the processes with current users and other users also, then we use EF and it will show all users process with current users are executed and all that in full form. And here it shows more detail, like it is showing here that this is the UID of the process of the user who executed, and this is the user ID who executed the process, and this is the PID of the process, and also it is showing the parent process ID who executed this process. So whenever some process executes, it executes their child process. So this is the parent of that process, and this is actually the child process. Then it shows the start time, when it was started. Then it is showing this terminal, and then it is showing how much time it took to start to run. And then this is showing the not only the process, it is showing the whole path of the command. And the actual first process is what? PID1, it is what? System D. This is the first process, executes in RHEL7, and it is executed by kernel. That is why you see there is no parent process ID, it is showing 0. Kernel executes one more process, that is number 2, and that is related to kernel threading. And then it executes this kernel threading, execute other process. We can see here these are related to initializing the hardware, and then initializing the software part is done by the system D. And you can see here it is started from here. So system D is now executing these process. So whenever we run any process, we can see the process ID who executed it, and also we see the parent process ID. If you want to see more detail, then we use this command ps-aux. It also shows the state of the process also. We have different states of the process. For example, running state, stop state, sleeping state, and zombie state. So we can see those states, those different states also here when we execute. So here we can see the states of the process. So S means sleeping, R means running. So some process are sleeping, some process are running, sleeping to running, or all like that. We can see these. For zombie it shows Z, but there is no Z it is showing because most of the process are running or either sleeping. So if you see zombie process, that means you have to kill it, otherwise it will utilize your RAM processor and waste your resources of machine. So this was the last command I executed, and it is still running, like it is saying R+. It was run last time. Now if we want to kill any process, so if we want to kill any process, let's say I run one process first, I will run this sleep command. So after 1000 second my terminal will goes to sleep. Now this process is running, and also it is running in foreground. So if we want to run it in background, so what we can do, we can press Ctrl Z. Now for stopping or killing the process, you can press Ctrl Z or Z. Ctrl Z, it will stop the process, or for killing the process we can press Ctrl C. Suppose I want to stop the process, so I will press Ctrl Z, and you can see which key I have pressed, Ctrl Z. And what it do actually, it stopped the process. It is not killing, it is actually stopped. I will run one more command, one more sleep process out of 1500 seconds. Now if I want to kill this process, I will press Ctrl C, and you can see what command, what key I pressed, Ctrl C. And when I press Ctrl C, it is killed, it is not stopped. So when you check the process, you will see this, it is there, but this sleep 1500 is not there because it was killed by me. And also we can verify by command jobs, and we can see that this background, this process is in background. On this terminal it is in background and it is not running. Currently it is stopped. And when you see the state also, if you want to see the state, then you will see that it will show stopped. So when we see the state, we can see T flag. Now T flag means it is stopped, it is not running. So, and also if we want to put some process in background, so we can give n% after any command. It will do what? It will put it into background. Any process that it will run, but run in a background. Now we can see the process ID, it is showing there, and it is running in a background. We can check by job command, and we can see that this one I pressed Ctrl Z and it was stopped, but still it is in background. And this one I put it into background by using this n% sign. Now if there is a process in a background and you want to bring it foreground, like this process is stopped, I want to run it again, so I want to bring it in foreground, so I can use FG command. FG command is to foreground, and then I will mention the process number here, and I will say this, and you can see now it is now in a foreground. And now I lose my terminal. Now whenever you run any command, so you will not able to execute any other command on the terminal because it is running. Now I can close it. I can press Ctrl C to close the process, and when you see jobs command, it shows that it is not running. Now this one is only there which is running, so we can bring it into foreground, this number 2 also, and again I can kill it. Now there is no process running in a background. So this is also a way to kill a process by pressing Ctrl C. But when you press Ctrl Z, it will not kill, it will just stop and goes into background. The other way is to kill the command is to press use a kill command. So I will run again. This I will put it into background, and we can see the process ID. So I want to kill the process, so I can use this kill command, kill, and then I can use -9. Now this -9 is what is a signal, so we can pass any We can pass lots of other signals also. This number 9 signal means we want to kill it, we want to terminate the process. Then we will mention the process ID 11394. We can see that process ID here when we executed it. And now we can see it is what? It is killed. And when I check jobs, it is not showing any command running background. So any command when we execute, we can kill it by kill command, and there are other signals are also there. We can check those other signals, we can pass to the process by using kill-l command to list the other process signals. So these are the other signals we have: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and till 64 signals we have, we can pass. And I have used this one, number 9, that means signal kill. And sometimes suppose you just want to stop the process, you just don't want to kill it, then you can use number 19 to signal stop. And if you want to resume the process again, then you can use signal continue again. Now after kill command, we can use kill all command also. We can use this kill all command. Now this kill all command will do what? It can pass signals to multiple process at the same time. That means if I have multiple process running in a background or running there, and I want to kill multiple processes together, then I can use this kill all command. Kill command will kill only one process at a time, and if I want to kill multiple process, then I can use this kill all command. So kill all command, and then I can use the pattern. Like I want to kill, so I will use signal 9, signal terminal, and then I will use the kill command pattern. Like for example, I will run first some process, sleep 1000. Okay, I will kill it like this. I will run it background because I will not able to run the command, so put it into background. Okay, then I will execute one more sleep command, then I will execute one more sleep command. So there is 3 sleep commands are running in background. So there are 3 process of sleep command is running into background, and I want to kill them all together. So I will use kill all number 9, signal number 9, and then I will say I want to kill this sleep command. And you can see now it has killed all the sleep commands. So by this you can do what? You can kill all the same commands which is running in a background. So not only one, it is killing all the commands which is sleep command. So you can run kill all with any signal, and then you can mention the command pattern. The command pattern, that means when I mention sleep, then it will kill all the commands related to sleep. Then root user can pass signals to other users process also. So if we have some other users in a system and they are running some other process, then kill command can also pass, the root user can also pass signals to kill those process of other users also. Like I will run some process with other user first. Now this is user 1, this is user 1 logged in. Now what? This user will run some command like sleep 1000. Okay, put it into background. Then sleep 500, sleep 2000. Now this user one is running these three different processes. These three different processes, these are run by user one. Now user root can do what? It can kill commands of or process of these other users also. Other users can't do this, but user root can do this. User root can kill other users process also. So how you will do, how the user will do, how the root will do? So it can run kill all command with the -9 option, and then -u for username. Okay, then it will mention the username, and then it will mention which command it wants to kill. So sleep command I have for user 1. We can see here these are run by user 1 and it is running here. Also we can check by ps-ef command, and we can see that these processes are run by user 1, and I want to kill them. I don't remember the process ID, I just know the command pattern. So what I can do, I can use kill all command to pass the signal. I am passing the signal number 9, and then I am passing for user 1 with -u option, and this is the command pattern which I want to kill. And then when I press enter, it is killed. Now when you check here, you can see all the process are now killed. So user root can do what? It can kill other users process also. So this is ps command to check the process, and we can put a process into a background. Then we can also do what? We can kill those process. We can kill single process by kill command, or we can kill multiple process by using the kill all command with the command pattern. Now this ps command only shows the executed process that which we have already executed. Now if we want to see the process running in a real time, like we see in Windows Task Manager. In Windows Task Manager, what we see is the process running in real time. So if suppose I want to see that in real time, so we have a command top here. So in Linux we have a command top. It shows those process which is running. It shows in what? In real time, and we can see it like this. So when you give a command top, it shows that these processes are running right now, and we can see that this is the command I executed, and here we'll see the time of the system right now. Then it shows here that up time, that means 23 minutes. The system is running from 23 minutes. We have 3 users logged in, and then load average of our system. This is the load average. Then also it shows how many tasks are running. So 484 tasks total is running, is there, but only 3 is running, and rest of the tasks are sleeping. No task is stopped, and there is no zombie also. Then it shows the CPU status. What is the load and status of the CPU? You can see it is not using anything. The system is in not use. Then it is showing the information about your RAM. There is 4 GB RAM total, and this is the free RAM, and this one this amount of RAM is used, and buffer. And also it shows the information about swap. I have total swap of 4 GB, and I have total swap free, no use. So all are free, no use, and all the RAM, all the memory is available, and we can use. This is total available memory. Then here it shows the running process, and you can see here they are changing. if you see, they are changing. So it shows this process in real time. You can see the process ID, executed user ID, then you can see the parent process, and you can also see one more thing, that is called priority. This thing is called priority. Every process we execute in our system, they get a unique priority. Priority based on the process type. Some process is important, so they get more priority. Some process are not that important, so they get less priority. So these are the priority. Nice value we can see. We can say these are the nice values. Then virtual memory, ratio, shared, and here it is showing the state of the process, whether it is sleeping or running. Right now we can see the top process, that command top is running, is in R state, and it is changing. And these are the CPU and memory status that process is using, how much time it is taking, and what is the command. So we can see this process in real time. And this stop command has other options also, like for example you want to see a specific process of some user, so you will give command U and you will pass the username here. I want to see the process of user 1 and enter. Now it is showing only the process which is executed by user 1. And if you want to see the process of all user, then again press U, and it is saying here blank for all. So just press enter directly and it will show now all users process. Then if you want to see other commands, then you can press H for help, and here you have a help. You have these other options, these other commands which do these other things. So you can try those things one by one. Now if you want to quit from here, you will press Q to exit, or even you can press escape. So when you press escape, you will back to this top, and if you want to exit from here, from this top command, then you can press Q and you're back to the terminal. So this stop command shows in real time the status of your process and how much memory and RAM processing they are doing. Now to monitor other things like your CPU status, your RAM status, there is some other commands. So for example, you want to see the status of your CPU. So in Linux we have a directory called pros. This proc directory actually has all the running process file. This process directory, it is actually process directory, so it has all the running process. So running process, that means if I want to see the status of my CPU running status, then I can cat the file which is under process directory, and the command, the file name is CPU info, and it will show you the information about your CPU. And when you press enter, you will see the information about your CPU, and it is showing that the processor is 0, there is only single processor I have. Vendor ID, it is genuine Intel. CPU family, model, model name, stepping, microcode, CPU in megahertz, caching size, physical ID, sibling, core ID, CPU, initials, APC ID. It is showing all physical information here. And also it is showing that what technology it supports. These are the flags. These flags reflects that which technology our CPU supports. All the technology which our CPU supports, it shows here. For example, hypervisor. It supports hypervisor for virtualization. So it is there. So it shows all these flags. These flags reflects that what technologies our CPU supports. Then it shows here other things also, like caching size and all this. So this is our information about CPU. Now if you want to see the information about your RAM, then there is one more file there. It is meminfo, and it shows information about your memory. Now memory including swap also. So it shows all the information about your memory about your RAM, swap, cache memory, everything, and you can see these all. And this is actually what real time, it is actually changing. So if your machine is in use, then you can see these informations are changing. If you do it multiple times, then you will see the change. How much page file is using, and so it is also a real-time information. It is actually running, the file is a running file. Then if you want to see the detail about your RAM and swap, then we can use free command. It shows about your RAM and total swap which you have, and total used and free whatever you have, it shows all. It is showing, first line it is showing about your RAM, total use, free, shared, buffer, cache and available. Then it is also showing information about your total swap, used and free. And if you want to check the information about your CPU status, then you can run uptime command. It will show you the current information about your CPU, like the current time of your system, how much time it is up, this is uptime, 3 users, logged in, and what is the load average of your CPU. Then also if you want to see, the other commands are also there, like VM state. It also shows the information about your memory, CPU, cache, swap. It shows you that your process, read, buffer, swapped, 0, free. These are the total free memory, buffer memory, cache memory, swap input, swap output. It is not used, input output, blocks in, blocks out. Then it shows system information. Then it shows the cache CPU information, user, system, ideal, wait, steal process, how much are there. And this information is actually real time. It is showing till now we have these information till now. But monitoring is what? Monitoring is like monitoring a system for a time period. For example, I want to monitor my system for a RAM or processor. Then what I will do, I will monitor my my system for a time period. For example, when our system is in full use, so what I will do, on that time I will monitor my system for 10 minutes. Then tomorrow also at the same time I will monitor on the system for 10 minutes. Then next day 10 minutes, next day 10 minutes. Then after end of the month I will compare the whole data, and then I will come to know that what is increasing and what is decreasing. Now this I can do it here by using this VM state command. By using this, I will say I want to see this thing after 2 seconds, and I want to see it 6 times. Now first time it will show you the total till now, and then it will show current. So after every 2 seconds it is running the command, and you can see the first time it shows the till now information. It is showing till now information, then it is showing current information. And as you can see, currently it is not used. So till now 4 read process running, and then now it is 0 here. You can see here also 0 0 0, because the system is in not use. So I can monitor my system by using this command. So daily I can monitor. This first number shows how many seconds difference you want and how many times you want. Like I want to monitor for 60 seconds, I want to monitor for 1 minute, so I will say every 1 second 60 times. So it will run after every 1 second for 60 times, so it will be 60. Or suppose I will say after 2 seconds 30 times, then again it will be for 1 minute. So it shows about information about process, memory, swap, input output, system and CPU. Then you have information to see. If you want to see the information about status about your hard disk, then you have a command for For that you have command IO state. IO state is what? Your input output status. Input output status shows your information about your running is information about your hard disk. When I run this command directly, it shows the information about my hard disk. It shows that my system is Linux. This is the kernel version, and then it is showing the machine name here, the date, current date, architecture, how many CPUs I have, only one. Then it shows the information about my CPU, average, nice process, system, input output, weight, steel, ideal. My system is total ideal. Then it is showing the information about my hard disk. I have only one hard disk, that is SDA. Tapes per second, this is the speed. KB read per second is this, KB written per second is this, and KB read and KB written. This is total. This is total till now, and this is for the CD I have connected. So this is my CD. It is not used, so only it is what? It is reading only. So it is showing information about my hard disk, and is also showing information about my CD. And this is actually what? Till now, how much it is used. And if suppose I want to see the information about only a partition, then I can mention the partition name. For example, I want to see the information only about my partition SDA2. So now it is showing only the information about SDA2. Or if I want to monitor my partition for some time, like input VM state for 60 seconds or for some time, then I can also use here, like after every 2 seconds I want to see 6 times. And I want to monitor my whole hard disk. No, I don't want to monitor my whole hard disk. I want to monitor only this partition SDA2. I can monitor my whole disk, or I can monitor a particular partition also. Now first output is the total one, and the next one will be current one. So here when we see the first time when I run, so it shows here total till now, then it shows current, and we can see currently it is not used, 0 0, all the things are 0 0 0. So when you are having a partition in full use, then you can see how much it is used and who is using it, and how much it is reading and writing. Then you can come to know that how much load you have in your system. Then if you want to see information about your system, then you can use this DMI decode command. This DMI decode command can show you the information about your BIOS, your system, your baseboard, your motherboard, your chassis, your processor, your RAM, your cache, your connectors, and your slot. So it can show you information about all these things. So whatever you want to see, you just have to give that command. After T, you just have to mention what you want to see. For example, I want to see the information about my BIOS. So I will give DMI decode, and then I will mention BIOS and press enter. And I can see now my information about BIOS. So this is my BIOS information. This is the vendor information. Then this is version, release date, address, runtime size, ROM size, characteristics, what it supports. So everything it is showing here. And just like this, you can see all the other information related to your system, baseboard, processor, memory, and all that. You can also see the information about your slots, like how many slots I have and what do I have in a slot. So I have these slots and what do I have in those slots. So I can see all these. Currently used, no. Currently used, no. Currently used, no. Currently in use. So this one is in use, this one is in use, this one is available for use and all that. So whatever we have, we can see all these information related to our hardware related information, we can say, for our system. Now whenever any process executes, it got a unique priority, and it is called nice level. So it gets a unique priority and that is called nice level. So we have a unique nice levels from -20 to +19. Now -20 to +90 means what? In between you will get 0 and then you will get +19. So depending on the process priority, it gets a unique priority level and it is called nice level. Now if you have minus, when you get a number in minus, that means it's a highest priority. 0 is average, not less and not more, and this 19 means it is very less and lower priority. So as the numbers goes minus, it becomes more priority, higher priority, and the minus goes into plus, it will become low priority. Now if you want to check the priority for other process, for example I want to check a process priorities for the other process, then I can see with ps command and I will say all executed with options, and options are, for example, I want to see only PID, I don't want to see everything. Then I want to see the command which executes. Then I want to see the nice value which is executing. So it will show all the process. With all the process, it will show only process ID, command and nice values. So let's see what we have. So we have these. So as we can see here, this is the process ID and this is the command and this is the nice value. Now you see these process are having 0 values, that means it is not lower, not higher, they are average. Then we go down and then what we see here, now we can see here that some of the process are very important. These are getting what? -20. These are very important. Now you see some of them is 5, 19, less important, very less important, and so on. So you can see those different values. Now you can see here -4, -8, -4 and 1, there is 1 also. So based on the priority, they get the priority number. Now these are the system process. Now for example, I want to run a process and I want to provide a process a nice value. That means I want to say the system that my process is important, or maybe my process is not that important. So I want to provide the nice value for my process, whatever I am running. So also I can do that by using this nice command. That means manually I can assign nice value to a process. So the system will take it as a, so whether the process is important or not, system will take it like that. And we can do this by using this nice command. Now with this command you will mention -n to provide the nice value. So I want to run a process with a nice value 10, nice value 10. Now what is the process? So let's say I want to run Firefox, and I will put it into background so that we can see, we can run the commands also. Now we can see the process ID. Okay, it is executed. I will put it into this. So we can see the process ID also, the process which I run, Firefox. Now what I will do, I will check the process nice value by using the ps command. Now this time what I will do, I don't want to see the whole process, so I will grab Firefox, which I executed. So we can see the process ID is this, and the process is Firefox, and we can see the nice value is 10. So this process is getting the nice value 10, and it will do what? It will execute it by this nice value. So based on the nice value, our system will provide the system, provide this process as it priority. Now after running the process, or suppose if some process is already running, so we can change the nice value also. We can also change the nice value of that running process. For example, the Firefox is already running and the nice value is 10. Now I want to change the nice value. I want to increase or decrease the lower. I want to higher or lower the priority. So I will use renice command. Renice, then -n for the number. Let's say I want to give it 15. Now this time you have to provide the process ID, not the name. So process ID, I know this is the process ID, so I will say 12879 and enter. Now you can see it is saying this process ID old priority was 10 and now the new priority is 15, and we can verify by this command, process ps command. And now we can see it is showing the process priority is nice value is 15. So we can execute the process with a unique nice value, or we can change the nice value if it is already executed. So based on the nice value, it will get the priority. Now the next thing so next we will see the managing the services. Just like the process do what? Process is what whenever we run any application or anything, it has a unique process with that. Now we have also one more thing, that is called services. Services always run in a background, and the services job is to provide the resources to the process or application. So whenever we have any application or process running in a system, in a server, it has a unique service for it, and all those services also run in a background, and their job is to provide the resources. Now if you want to manage those services, so for managing the services, we have command systemctl. This is the command to manage those services, systemctl, and then you want to see, you should know the service name first. So systemctl is the command, and then after that you will mention what you want to do with the service. For example, you want to start the service, you want to stop the service, you want to reload the service, So you can say whatever, like first I want to check the status, so I will say status of the service, and then you will mention the service name. So this is the service name, VSFTPD. Now it says here that this is the service and the service name is VSFTPD and dot service. Dot service, that means it is a service, and what it do, it is VSFTPD daemon. It is the daemon for FTP service. Remember, these services are called also daemon in Linux. Daemon which runs in a background and provide resources to the service. So it is also called daemon for the services. Now it is loaded. Now it is saying it is loaded. Loaded, that means it is installed and it is actually available, but it is right now not running. We can check by this active. Is it active? It says no. It is inactive. It is dead. Now load means it is loaded without any problem. If you see this any problem here, that means the system is corrupt, the service is corrupt, or software is corrupt. So it is loaded properly, but it is not active and it is dead. And you can see the path of the service also. Now it is currently disabled, and from the vendor preset is also disabled. That means this is the default status of your system. This is the default status of your service, that it always be disabled. So whenever you have this service, this application, it is disabled from the vendor. But and also currently it is disabled. Now currently disabled, that means if I start the service, then it will start, but if I restart my system, then the service will again go back to the default status, if the default status says disabled. Let's say I will start the service. For starting the service, I will use system ctl start and then the service name. Now when you check the service status, now you can see it is now active and running, and it is started from since this 3 seconds ago. And this is the process, this is main ID, these are the configuration files, it is run, and these are the information about it. It is starting and started. Now whenever we see here, it is still saying disable. This means this is the default status. Now currently it is running, but if I restart my system, then it will go back to the default status, that is disabled. So whenever you start any service, you will have to make sure that service will always run. It should not stop. So whenever you start any service, you make sure that service will always run. Otherwise what happens? You start service, it will run properly, everything is working, but whenever the system restarts, it goes back to default status and it will stop. So if you want to make it run properly after restart also, then you have to change the default status. For that we will use systemctl enable command. We can check the default status by this command, is enable, and it is saying that this is disabled. So if we want to enable it, then we'll use this command, systemctl enable VSFTPD, and now this is enabled. And when you check is it enabled, now it is enabled, and when you check the status, it shows now that this is enabled. So whenever you restart, it will always start, the system will always run, but still vendor provided disabled. That means out of the box it is disabled. And if you want to disable the service, then you will give command disable, and now it will become disabled. And if you want to stop the service, then we will give command systemctl stop, and now it will not, now it is not running. it is now stopping, stop. And if we want to reload the service, then we will use reload command and all that. So we have this systemctl command to manage our services. So we have seen how we can monitor the system, monitor the services, process, kill the process. Then we have seen how we can manage the process priority and how we can manage our services, how we can start the services, stop the services, and also enable the services.